So here's a quick little recap of what we learned way back when I first met you in Chapter 1. Okay? Some of the things that we discussed were how to find intercepts. So to find an x-intercept, you're going to let the y be 0. To find a y-intercept, you should let the x be 0. True for all kinds of equations. So I'm going to look at this equation here and put 0 in for the y. And that says x squared equals 10. When you square root, don't forget that you get plus or minus. 10 does not break down any simpler for a radical, so the answer is plus minus radical 10, comma 0. There are two x-intercepts. The y-intercept, if I put 0 in for x, I get y equals 10. There's only one y-intercept because it wouldn't pass the vertical line test. Let's sketch a quick graph of what this looks like. When it's x squared, the shape is going to be a parabola. That's going to help me make sure that I draw the right thing. The intercepts here are 10 on the y-axis, negative radical 10, and positive radical 10 on the x-axis. And so here's the parabola. Oops, bigger. And the parabola is opening down. If I go ahead and take a look at this equation right here, I probably would move the x squared to the other side. That's why the parabola opens down, shifted 10 units up. So take some of your Chapter 2 and 3 knowledge and make sure that what you have here makes sense. Now let's test for symmetry. If I fold along the x-axis, the graph does not match up. If I fold along the y-axis, it does match. So in terms of symmetry, this graph definitely has y-axis symmetry. The third type you might consider is origin symmetry. If you spin the graph upside down 180 degrees, does that look the same? Well, no, now the parabola is opening up. So it does not have any origin symmetry. There could be x-axis, y-axis, or origin. Okay, the next thing that we studied in Chapter 1 was linear equations, writing equations of lines and stuff. So find the point slope and the slope-intercept form. Okay, when I have 2 points here, the first thing that you're going to have to do is calculate the slope. And you got to wise up, remember? Y minus y. I'm going to do 1 minus negative 2. And since I started here with this point, I have to start with the 10. X, minus minus, change. I'm getting 3 over 18, which is 1/6. Okay, now point slope, I need a point and a slope. And this equation looks like y minus, give me a y, I'm going to pick 1, equals m, 1/6, times x minus x. That is point slope form. If the directions on the test say write it in point slope form, it must look like that. Now slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to take this equation, I'm going to distribute, clean it up. Y minus 1 equals, distribute, 1/6x minus 10 over 6. Well, 10 over 6 is cancel by 2. 5 over 3, and I'm going to add the 1, so plus 3 over 3. So y equals 1/6x minus 2/3. So this is the equation in slope-intercept, and that's the equation in point-slope. Okay, all of these formulas, slope equation, point slope, slope-intercept, that should all be on your Chapter 1 note card. If you don't have that, make sure you add that on. Okay, another thing that we did this chapter was the equation of a secant line. Okay, so there's a couple of topics actually we're going to study here in this section. So the first thing was average rate of change. Average rate of change is like slope, and to do slope you need 2 points. It says from -1 to 3, so I'm going to do f of -1, and that's going to be -1 cubed plus 5 times -1 minus 2. So f of -1, that's negative, that's positive 1 minus 5 minus 2, that's going to be -6. So that's the point, -1, -6. Now I have to plug in 3. F of 3 is negative. 3 has to get cubed, plus 5 times 3 minus 2. So f of 3, that's negative 27. Negative 27 plus 15 minus 2, that's plus 13. That's going to be negative 14. Negative 14. So I did find some points. Negative 1, negative 6, and when I plugged in 3, I get negative 14. Okay, so the average rate of change, I need to do a slope calculation. The average rate of change is negative 6 minus negative 14, and negative 1 minus 3. So the average rate of change is change. 14 minus 6 is 8 over negative 4, which is negative 2. Okay, now that's halfway there. If it said find average rate of change, I would be done. But this said find the equation of the secant line. Okay, so now let's do some secant work. A secant line is a line that touches the graph twice. So this negative x cubed has a line touching at 2 places, hence a secant line. So I've got the 2 points, and I'm going to start with point slope. Y minus, maybe I'll use this point right here. Y minus negative 6 is plus 6 equals, now I need an m, the slope is negative 2, times x plus 1. Now, I'm going to take a look at the answer choices on this multiple choice final, and if the equations are in point slope, I would look for that. Maybe they used this point, so maybe I have to try again and look for that. Or if the equations are in slope-intercept form, I might have to clean this up a little bit. So that's negative 2x minus 2 minus 6, negative 8. There's the equation of the secant line. Okay, so on a multiple choice final, you might have to look at the answers to see what form they have it in. Okay, I really need you to try all the review problems for Chapter 1 on the next couple of pages. Use your packet and your note card. Good luck.